They finally gave her the augment we have been asking for years at this point, the ability to have a turret follow Protea around, and then they went and tied it to Temporal Anchor and gave it a max combo count of 20. But you know what? That's okay. And I'm not even trying to make a joke. Literally, it is actually still insane with the right setup, and that's exactly what I'm here to tell you guys about, because I just couldn't keep this one to myself. Temporal Artillery is a brand new augment released with Jade Shadows that causes a single blaze artillery per second ability to follow Protea around when Temporal Anchor is activated, halting its duration countdown, but limiting its max combo count to 20. And no, that does not scale with strength, unfortunately. Otherwise though, this turret is identical to a typical one, except it can aim in a full 360-degree radius rather than the normal 130-degree firing angle. Be aware that if you have any turrets active before you cast Anchor, it will adopt the oldest one currently available, and whenever Anchor ends, the turret will be left exactly where that happens, turning into a normal version of itself. Now, as I'm sure you'd assume, by itself, a max 20 combo count turret doesn't really do that much. Even if it does follow us around, it requires some pretty aggressive strength scaling and priming to feel okay, but we don't really want to do that. Instead, we can take advantage of another augment she got recently that I personally wasn't the biggest fan of until now. Temporal Erosion is another augment mod focused around her fourth ability, making her slash grenade and artillery armor strip enemies at 10% per hit while it is active. I've always thought that this augment was unnecessary, and you were better off just getting rid of Anchor entirely because her turrets already deal so much damage that you just didn't need it. But it is when you combo these two augments together that I can't overlook them. With both of them equipped, the turret at Protea's side now follows her and armor strips enemies with every hit, firing at 3 shots per second. Recently, I put out a short on Jade and her Ophinum eyes, detailing how you can get that ability to full strip in 2 seconds by combining corrosive projection and 410% strength. You're probably asking, what does that have to do with Protea? But the same principle applies here, yet it is infinitely easier to do because of her passive, which grants every fourth ability cast 100% more ability strength. Putting that into practice by stacking Blind Rage and Transient with Molt Augmented and her passive, we get 414 ability strength, which is 4 over the required 410% to multiply the 10% strip from Erosion to 41% per hit. Do we really need that? Absolutely not. Are we going to because it's insanely overpowered? Absolutely. Now we have a mobile turret that is juiced on 400% strength and armor strips enemies entirely in 0.66 seconds. Lovely. Besides that, it is a relatively typical Protea setup, with her 1 contributing majorly to her survivability. The shield satellite portion of Grenade Fan has always been very strong, giving you constant shield and overshield regen while augmenting your shield gates to be double duration. If looking at the shield gate chart and Protea's own shields once satellites have capped them, she gets the full 2.5 seconds doubled to 5 seconds, which is just like, damn. And don't forget that these apply to companions and any sort of ally, as if it couldn't get any better. Helmet wise, you actually don't need anything specific for this build, but I went with a bit of an odd option, even if it is wildly popular, in Nourish over her third. Protea is not a very mobile frame. She relies heavily on dispensary for energy management, but this build is meant to be very mobile, and Nourish is essentially a mobile dispensary, multiplying all sources of energy, adding viral damage to our weapons, and a free viral proc on enemies within range whenever we take damage. Finally, there is Anchor, and we manage it in a little bit of a complex method. Alone, casting will snapshot Protea's current location and begin a countdown, which is the duration of the ability. While active, you are invulnerable for the first 3 seconds, and for the rest of the duration, 25% of all instances of damage are recorded to be stored up for an explosion on either ability end or decast. Furthermore, there is a sort of rewind mechanic present here, where she actually physically rewinds back to where the ability was cast. She will be cleansed of all negative status effects while her health, ammo, energy, shields, and combo counter are restored to what they were when the ability was cast, and that sounds great and all, but it requires you to do this every 20 seconds. That is a crazy long animation and it just takes too long. We don't want to do that. Lucky for us though, right as the ability is about to end, there is a ticking clock sound that I use to determine when I will manually cancel the ability by holding down said key. This just completely disables it and doesn't give us any of the aforementioned benefits, but we really don't need those as Anchor is just a prerequisite for the far more powerful turret tech with the augments. With that being said, here is the full build. Strength mods are, as we talked about before, these are also present alongside corrosive projection and both augments. Archon Vitality has a unique application on Protea because of the way her turrets work. Seeing as the bolts proc heat on every hit, doubling those is a free doubling to our dot damage, but you can just leave yours downranked as the health here is completely unneeded and the other portion doesn't scale with rank. Range can be left at 100% as turrets have a base 30-meter firing range and one moves with you. Duration is a very important stat. We want to cast Anchor as little as possible, so I am stacking Prime Continuity and 3 Tau Forge duration shards. The shards are not needed at all, but in the case you don't use those, you definitely want Molt Efficiency present, which gives you 36% more duration if your shields are active, which Protea's one will take care of always. Finally, Prime Surefooted up here and Equilibrium to combo with Nourish and a Deconstruct Panzer for energy management. This Panzer is pretty generic, but gets the job done more than well enough. Weapon-wise, you don't need anything, but Akicore is a fun option for even more automatic firing and works well with the aforementioned Panzer build for more crit damage and fire rate. Kratos I swear by as usual, and Zenerik is great, but if you don't have some of the casting speed shards like I do, then maybe use Materai for its casting benefits. If you frequent my streams at all, you'd know that I really don't like Anchor as an ability or its previous augment, but this new combo really switched it up for me. It's just really fun. I don't understand why people don't think this augment is good. Sure, this is a very niche scenario, but like, come on guys. This is insane. A massive thank you to my Discord and YouTube supporters, as otherwise I would not be able to do what I do. If you would like to support me there and get videos like this one early, the links are down below, where you will also find my Discord and Twitch. Feel free to join and follow. I would love to see you there. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I told y'all I would upload again soon. Don't doubt me. This is my summer. I'll see y'all later. Peace.